These are the 10-inch squares that I have left over from my star wreath quilt. I will leave a link up here in the left-hand corner. It will also be in the description box below the video, and I will also attach a link at the end. So if you haven't seen that video, it's called Star Wreath, and I have had this layer cake for about at least 3 years. And the patterns on it are very large, and I didn't want to chop them up because then you wouldn't really see what they were. So for the quilt I am making now, I am calling it Basket Weave, and I am going to pair these fabrics with a solid black. The first step is super easy. All I'm doing is I am going to cut the 10-inch squares into 2 sections. So whenever you are working with a layer cake, is you will want to measure your layer cake to see where it's 10 inches at. So this one goes from peak to peak. So most layer cakes you get will have these pinked edges. And the reason why they do that is it prevents the fabric from unraveling. You want to measure whether or not you are going from the peak to the other peak is your 10 inches. Some manufacturers go down into the valley part, and that is their 10 inches. So you just want to measure yours to make sure. And so mine go from peak to peak. And so I am just cutting these in half to make 2 5-inch by 10-inch rectangles. So this one here is showing Scotch going this way, and there's a lot of writing here. This one, it's basically the same thing. So I think both of these, I'm going to cut them this way at 5 inches so you can see the Scotch there. Let's see, if I do it that way, it's going to cut the S off. So on this one, I'm going to cut both of those this way. And so with these big patterns, you want to see, you know, you could stack all of them up, but some of them you may want to cut horizontally. Some you may want to cut vertically, whatever your pattern is. So all of these I'm just setting aside. Now, there was another one that I was thinking they were really different. Okay, here we go. I think it's the dartboards when I was looking at them. Okay, so for these two, I think, let's see, if I do this way, it's still going to show part of the darts, the dartboard and the darts on this side. This one, it really shows it pretty good, but I think I could also go this way with it. And you see there's writing on here. So with this pattern, some of the blocks are going to be horizontal, some of the blocks are going to be vertical. So I will be able to switch these around within the quilt, and you'll see that here, how I lay them out in just a moment. Okay, so you can see that some of them are going to be is like that, and some is like that. This is another one. I'm going to do one like that and one like this. Next, I'm going to need a whole bunch of 3-inch strips. So I'm using Kona Black. So when I cut my strips, I like to use my Stripology ruler. It makes for cutting them pretty quick. And I just do it right off the bolt. Sometimes I'll iron it, but most of the time off of the bolt, it's pretty good. So what I like to do is I do use a line on my mat, and I'm putting the fold side of the bolt fabric down first, and I'm trying to line it up as best as I can with a line on my mat. And then I am taking the selvage edge, and I am trying to get that as close as I can to that, because after that, what I do is I come back over here. I come to this side down here, And I'm trying to make sure that this whole section here is as straight as possible as well. So then I take my ruler, and it has hole numbers on here, and then it has markings for 1.5 inch cuts and 2.5 inch cuts. Now it shows for 20 inches, so but the very end is 21. And so since I am doing 3-inch strips, I should be able to get 7 out of here. And so I'm trying not to use the lines on my mat going this way. I try to do it off a little bit so that I can save those for when I do need to use the lines on my mat for cutting, because they will get grooves over time. This ruler does have the anti-skid things on it, but I still like to use my weights. So let me go over as far as possible because I am stingy with my fabric, and then I just cut into the groove. So, and I am doing 3 inches. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then the very edge will be 21. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I need a total of, what did I figure out? 21. So I'm just going to stack these up. I'm going to get a few more before I go and realign everything again and get my 21 cut. I have my 21 3-inch wide strips done, and I cut a few extra because I think I'm going to do a 3-inch border. So what I'm doing is since I need 10-inch strips out of this, this will get me 10 inches by going ahead and leaving them already folded. I don't have to undo them. And so I'm just lining them up going this way on my mat. And I am stacking them enough to where I can still use my ruler. So I'm going 3 high. And then I do another layer, but I stagger them from, you know, just stacking them right up on top of each other. I just find a line on my mat on this side and this side. And I get them stacked like that. And then I can just come in here once with my ruler and cut them at 10 inches. I do try to go this far over closest to where one of the folds are and come in over here. That way, when it gets unfolded on this side, I should have enough for 2 inches by 3 inches, but I could use that for another project. I know what? But I don't want to throw it away. Crumb piecing, scrap bin. Okay, so here is waist. And then if you look, that's the top part, the selvage. So this part here. Yeah, I'll iron that. It's 3 inches by 2.5 inches. So I'll keep those. Okay, so for the remaining fabrics from my layer cake, I have 42 5-inch by 10-inch rectangles, and I have 84 3-inch by 10-inch strips. So this is going to give me a total of 42 10-inch squares when I'm done sewing these together for my layout to be 6 across by 7 down. So you guys, this is so easy. So I'm taking one of my pattern rectangles and one of my black rectangles. Lining them up. sew down. Now, whenever I first start sewing, I always start to where my needle is going to hit the fabric first. I will take a few stitches, I will back stitch, and then go forward again, and then just start chain piecing. You can use a leader and ender if you want to. This is just what I do. You do whatever works for you. If you're not familiar with any of my videos, you'll see green tape and blue tape on my table here. So the blue tape edge on this side is my 1/4 inch, and the edge of the green right here is where my needle is. So what's nice is when I have my fabric here, I've actually built a ledge with my blue tape, so I can just butt it up against that blue tape and just go pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and do another one so I don't have to break my thread. So let me get this done real quick, and then I'll show you how I'm making this square. And when I get to sewing these, I'm just going to chain piece all one side, flip around, and then do the other. Okay. And now I'm going to grab another black strip and go down this side. Come over to the iron, set my seams, and I like to use my fingers to open up my seams to make sure those are nice and open and I'm not distorting my fabric. And then I come in and get that nice and pressed. And so you guys, that's it. That's my block. Now wait till you see how this goes together. Okay, I have everything ironed, and I love being able to use a ruler for transporting my blocks upstairs. And so I have pins, I have scrap paper that I have numbers on and ironing directions, and then I have my blocks. So some of my blocks I just have 2 of, so I put those in a pile, and the other ones I have 4 of. So I put those in a pile, and so I'm gonna lay this out 6 across by 7 down. Now I do have a design curtain down in my workshop, but I really enjoy being able to put these on the floor. It just works for me. All right, so I'm gonna put the 2 aside and just use those a little bit more sporadic than these. Okay, so one is gonna go like that, and then the other one is gonna go like that. That's it. And then as I do the next row, it's going to go that way. And then like that. Super easy as that. All right, I am happy with my layout, and so I have my numbers and my pins, and I like to go through. I always go on the right side and I start at the top right, and I pin my numbers all the way down, and then I will pin my rows together. This is just what works for me. You do whatever works for you. My numbers do have arrows on them. You've probably seen that in that picture. I use that for ironing. So odd numbers go up and to the left if I need to go up on that row, and then even numbers get ironed to the right. So odd numbers get ironed to the left, even numbers get ironed to the right, and then if I use these numbers in columns, then that's what the up and down is for. But I love being able to repurpose junk mail and scratch paper. And so if they get all worn out and they get too many holes in them, I just write up some more with some more junk mail. And then as I pin my rows together, I'll lay them out on my ruler to take them back downstairs to the sewing machine. Okay, when I'm back at my machine, I like to take just 2 of my rows and I will start chain piecing these 2. When I am pinning upstairs on the floor, I am not lining these up when I pin them. I just put them to where they're gonna go in and I line it up when I'm at my machine. So I just pick 2 sets, pull my pin out, and then, sorry, that's my dog Murphy groaning there, if you hear that. So I lined it up here at the machine, and whenever I'm first starting, just like before, I like to start on my on the fabric here. Take a few stitches forward, and then back stitch. Sometimes I go off, sometimes I don't. And then continue on. Take a few stitches there, lock it. And then while the needle, I always have my needle down when I sew. Line it up again. Sometimes I have to scooch my fabric over to make it more straight. When I get close to the end, I double check, make sure I'm still straight there, and go off. Then I grab the next one. I've tried it before where I do all of them as I sew, but every once in a while, I may not get a pin in all the way, and it can come out. So with taking the picture that I did earlier, if it does become separated, I can just look at these 2 rows and then look at my picture to see where the one that came off goes. It just makes it a lot easier looking at 2 rows rather than all of them. And so then I just take my next one, take a few stitches, line it up, and stitch. Once that one goes through, the one that I started off with, I just go on to the next one. What's really nice about this pattern is you don't have any seams to line up. The only time I'll have seams to line up is when I sew my rows together. Okay, I'm to ironing, and so you'll see on row number 6, I need to iron my seams that way. So since I'm right-handed and I go like this, I take the seam. Sometimes I'll go through and set them all on the back, sometimes I don't. But my main thing is I just want to make sure that that is going to the left. And it's just where the 2 blocks meet each other. I'm a big fan of using my fingers to open up the seam. So I go like that, make sure it's going that way, and then I use my fingers to open the fabric up, and then I come through with my iron. Now there have been times where I would use my iron to open it, but you just got to be careful with that, because sometimes the pushing of the iron can make your seam bow, and you don't want to do that. So now I have row 7 and row 6. So when I put those together, you can see that this seam is going up and this seam is going down. So they will nest perfectly. I hope you have enjoyed my basket weave quilt tutorial, and I hope you give this one a try, as it really does go together fast and easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.